Josef was born December 21st, 1934 in Sarajevo because his mother wanted him to grow up close to her family. Josef grew up in a typical Jewish family in Pristina, Kosovo. Due to various circumstances, Josef and his family relocated from place to place. They were low-scale merchants in Pristina. His father was born in Pristina in 1898.
Josef's father studied in Prague and later enlisted in the military as an active officer. Josef's parents could speak Hebrew, Serbian, and Ladino, but at home spoke Serbian and Ladino. Before the war, Joseph's family was not very observant. His family went to synagogue occasionally, and for the first time Josef went to synagogue was when he moved to Zagreb in 1936. Joseph's sister Rahela was born in Zagreb in 1939. Since his dad was an officer, they always had a military surrounding them in Zagreb.
His mother associated with Jews in Zagreb. In the early 1940s, Jews from Austria and Germany would refuse to Yugoslavia, and every Jewish family was expected to house one Jewish family from Germany. Due to good space and conditions in Joseph's family's household, they took in a couple from Germany. Joseph's family mingled with the couple when they lived there, and the couple warned them of what was coming and that they must run, but Joseph's dad did not believe.
Joseph's mom had an instinct for danger, and in 1941, Joseph, his sister, and his mom moved from Zagreb to Sarajevo because she believed that the couple said and wanted to be with her family when it all broke loose. The German invasion of Yugoslavia happened in April of 1941, and later, Joseph found out that his father was arrested during the invasion for being an officer.
The Ustaše was a Croatian fascist, racist, ultranationalist, and terrorist organization active between 1929 and 1945. At the beginning, Joseph and his family stayed at his mother's sister's house, Esperanza, and Joseph could see the Ustaše destroying what was the most beautiful synagogue in the Balkans.
Joseph's aunt was taken to Jasenovac or Gradiška concentration camp and was murdered there. Jasenovac and Gradiška were both extermination camps in Croatia. Gradiška is the more infamous of the two, getting its reputation for crimes committed against women and children.
After the Ustaše took control of this area, it became too dangerous, and Joseph and his family moved out to another one of his aunt's homes, further out of town. Sanctions started against the Jews. First it was a curfew, then it became they had to wear yellow badges with the Z on it. Zito meant Jew, and Z stood for Zito.
Commissars were entrusted to control Jewish property, and one of the commissars lived in Joseph's uncle's apartments. At this time, the special police would gather 10 to 20 people and load them in cars, and then take them away to the camps. Later, they would go from house to house collecting people.
They knew of camps but did not know what happened in the camps. They had a small bag packed to be prepared for when they were sent off. Joseph's uncle was a religious man and would send him and his sister off for private religious lessons. Joseph and his family lived with his aunt and uncle for about a year and a half until the Ustaše took over the Italians in September of 1943. Joseph and his family knew what it was like to be under the rule of the Ustaše, so they knew it was time to flee. Joseph's father was from Pristina, and that area was under Italian rule, so Joseph and his family believed it would be a good next destination.
Joseph's uncle was friends with the Italian consul, and he gave us documents to grant us permission to pass through the checkpoints. Joseph's father's family still lived in Pristina in mid-1943, and him and his family stayed at their homes. Eventually things got worse and the Italians started to lose control of the area, so once again, Joseph and his family were forced to flee from the Germans. Joseph's mom sold their house in Pristina for money to live on, and they hurried back into Albania.
It was easy for Joseph and his family to cross the border due to the Italians still having some control and simply did not care. In Albania, Joseph and his family rented rooms, and Joseph got a job selling fruit, and his family went to church regularly. Due to the Germans getting closer, Joseph and his family moved to the Muslim part of town and changed their names accordingly.
When living here, Joseph got a job as a carpenter. Soon, Joseph and his family were forced to move out and were left on the streets with Germans searching for people. Then, finally, they got a flat by the German barracks. Ukrainians gave Joseph and his family food in exchange for liquor, and Joseph has learned Albanian.
Once they were liberated, Joseph and his family had to get back to Yugoslavia. Joseph's father knew they were alive because of letters he received, and eventually they found each other again. After the war, Joseph started going by Baru. Joseph and his family remained members of whatever Jewish community they lived in at the time. Joseph got his degree in engineering and is still working in Belgrade with his wife, Jolina.